So you're 62, you've done a great job saving for retirement. You have $900,000 in the bank, and the question is, can you retire? Well, yes, you can. That's it, Eric. Cut the video. We're done. No, seriously, the question isn't just can you retire, it's can you retire and sustain your standard of living while making sure you have enough money for health care down the road. When should you take Social Security? What about taxes? This is everything that we talk about in our retirement process, and in this video we're going to go through those scenarios. We're going to look at different life expectancies, different Social Security election strategies, different tax strategies, and also what happens if one spouse predeceases the other unexpectedly and what impact that has. Hi, I'm Troy Sharpe, CEO of Oak Harvest Financial Group, certified financial planner professional, and host of the Retirement Income Show. Okay, so I've laid out the case pretty clear here. I'm just going to jump right into it. First, we have to go through some basic parameters. So 62, I have both spouses here at 62. Married, they want to spend $75,000 a year. Now, one thing I will say, I can't go through every scenario in these videos, but this is why it's important to work with someone so you can go through all these different scenarios for your personal expectations, your personal circumstances, etc. I have life expectancy going to 95. I get a lot of comments, Troy, I'm not going to live to 95. Yes, a lot of you will not live to 95, but a lot of you will live to 95, and a lot of you will live beyond 95. The advancements in science and technology and medicine, we have drugs and treatments today that just 5 years ago, without them, people were dying much sooner than they do today. So please bear with me when it comes to these life expectancy ages. We are going to look at another scenario where the husband dies at 80 and the wife lives till 90. But I believe many people are underestimating how long they will live. But again, circumstances are different for everyone. Customization is key when it comes to retirement. Okay, this couple has $900,000 saved, $700 is in an IRA, $200 is in what we call non-qualified accounts. So non-qualified is outside of your retirement account. It's non-IRA. So your bank savings, your brokerage account, your investment accounts, whatever that may be, anything outside of a retirement account, the technical term for it is non-qualified money. In this first example, we're going to look at what happens because many people do this, and oftentimes it's a mistake, and sometimes it's actually the right decision. So based on these parameters, we're going to look at this couple taking Social Security at 63. So essentially they're 62 now. They're going to retire in 2022. I'm doing this video right now it's almost October of 21. So we're going to say Social Security next year when they actually retire. And then we're also going to look at full retirement age, FRA. And that is for this couple, about 66 and a half, maybe 66 and 10 months, somewhere in that range. We are going to look at the tax analysis. Should they do conversions? What about the withdrawal order? This is a big, big part of retirement planning. Step 3 of our retirement process is tax planning. So should they do conversions? But also what sequence should they withdraw from the accounts, whether they're doing conversions or not? Again, don't just think about your money as far as stocks and bonds, what percentage there, or your investment choices. You have to also, in retirement, think about your buckets as far as their tax characteristics, because this is a very critical element of strategic income distribution and tax planning. So non-qualified bucket, IRA bucket, tax-free Roth bucket. How much should we be withdrawing from each of them and when? Very, very critical here. Okay, with those scenarios now laid out, or those parameters laid out, we're going to jump right into the numbers. So this is a Monte Carlo simulation. This is going to run 1,000 different trials based on all the parameters. So taking Social Security at 63, living till 95. $900,000 saved, broken down $700 in retirement accounts, $200 outside of retirement accounts. The $75,000 is growing at 2.25% inflation, and this does include medical expenses. So this is the entire retirement plan spending budget. Okay, comes in at 59%. So one thing, what would we do if this was your particular situation? Well, first thing we will go to is the spending. So what we might do is create a go-go spending plan where we want to spend the $75,000 in the first, let's call 5 to 10 years of retirement, but we plan on tapering that down because the numbers don't look great right now. Personally, I would just simply tell you not to retire, work a little bit longer. If you were dead set on retiring right now, we have to look at alternative scenarios. First one we would look at, besides the go-go, slow-go income plan, is what happens if we take Social Security at a different time. So for this particular couple, we'll see right here, taking Social Security at 63 is not the right decision if they want to retire now. So we have a bunch of different ages here. So at retirement, taking Social Security, 62 or 63 here, so this would be as soon as possible. This would be a partial year Social Security since we're at the end of 2021. That's why these numbers are reduced right here. But at retirement, looking at 63, Social Security benefit for John at his full retirement age is assumed to be $3,000 a month or $36,000 per year. This is close to the maximum amount you can have from a Social Security standpoint currently at this time. It's actually a little bit higher, but to make things simple, I put $3,000 a month in. So at retirement, they take it at 63. Based on those parameters, everything we went through in the beginning, it's a 60% probability of success. But if they wait and take Social Security at their full retirement age, the probability of success jumps up to 85%. Okay, so 85%, this is a very doable number. At this point, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about you retiring. We just need to monitor it. We need to track the progress over time. So when we meet with clients, typically it's semi-annually. If the numbers are a little bit lower or somewhere in this range, we might meet quarterly just to have conversations. But truth of the matter is, the markets don't change typically that much, quarterly intervals, and the plan doesn't change that much. But we want to be comfortable, especially if we're kind of borderline here. So, okay, we see Social Security does make sense here at full retirement age, gets us to a much higher probability. But I want to go back to taking Social Security early. So if we take Social Security early, can we retire? Yes, we can technically retire. But we have to realize that we're going to be in a position to where we need to spend a little bit less than that $75,000 number. But let's say we continue to spend that $75,000 number, inclusive of healthcare costs. I want to look at this, breaking down the Monte Carlo simulation into these various trials. So we have, out of 1,000 various simulations, this is number 10. This is number 250, number 500, 750, and 990. Okay, the 5-year interval of how much money is in the account. But it's very, very, very important to understand time value of money, okay? And this is what this column breaks down, these two here. So in the average scenario, and what's different in these simulations is that we're looking at variable stock returns or portfolio returns over time. One of the things you don't ever really want to do is just say, okay, what happens if I make 7% per year forever? That just doesn't happen. You're going to make 12%, 6%, negative 10%, plus 22%. That's what the simulation is doing. So if we look at the returns, this is about a 60% allocation to stock portfolio. What this simulation, this is the 500 simulation. This is looking at the returns in these various years. So first year, we make 11%. Next year, we make 8%. A couple of negative years here, some positive years. In this simulation, we have a negative 10 and a negative 14. Very detrimental to have two back-to-back negative years while we're taking withdrawals from the portfolio. But this trial down here breaks it down into various different simulations, looking at 5 different simulations. But here's what matters. So if we just look at the 50th, okay, we still have $400,000 in the future. And this is at the end of the plan, okay? So this is at life expectancy. So some of you may be thinking, you know what, hey, if I can do this and still have $400,000 when I die, I'm good. But here's the thing you have to realize. In today's dollars, as far as the amount of goods and services that you'll be able to purchase, that $400,000 because of inflation. Inflation erodes our purchasing power over time. In today's dollars, it's only $193,000. Again, 2.25% inflation rate. Now, this is overly simplified because you have some expenses that are going to inflate more than others, such as healthcare expenses. Different video, different conversation. Just overall concept here. But here's what I want to get into. So in the 500 simulation here, and this is pretty average returns if we look to see. So this portfolio averages almost 6% a year, okay? 5.76. Not bad for someone who's a fairly conservative type investor, and most of our clients are fairly conservative. At least they don't typically want 100% of their money in the stock market, although some people do, and that's fine as long as you can tolerate the ups and downs. But here's the point. Let's say we're over here in 2044. Okay, so this is 22, 23 years down the road. 700,000, but that's in future dollars. Okay, in today's dollars, it's probably somewhere around 500 grand. But what happens if one spouse now has a nursing home stay? Nursing home costs right now, we have clients spending $20,000 a month, and you can easily get to 20 grand a month at $20 an hour for an in-home health aid. Long-term care costs are astounding how much they are. So what I want to point out here is Medicare will cover about the first 100 days of a nursing home stay. But if you have home health care, if you want to move into an assisted living type place, if you need to go to a long-term care facility because you broke a hip or a knee, many of you have parents and you've went through this situation, or maybe you're fearful that you have a parent that maybe has or does not have the money and they possibly could be about to go into this situation. Long-term care costs are real, and it's something that we need to be aware of. My point overall here, in today's dollars, this is only going to buy, off the top of my head, somewhere probably around $500,000 of goods and services because of inflation. Now, what happens if we need to spend $150,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 in the future? These are the contingencies that we have to be aware of, because yes, even though this is saying we die with $400,000, in today's dollars it's only $193,000, but this can all be wiped out if we have a long-term care or a medical need or some other surprise expense. Now, if I just slide this slider up, going this way means that we haven't quite had as high of returns as we were expecting. Maybe we're in an extended recession because of the debt, the deficit, higher tax environment, whatever it may be, wars, you name it. This is actually an interesting scenario right here. So in the beginning years, you see the green, we're having a lot of positive returns in retirement. Portfolio is doing really well. These are the values, so 500,000, a million. We're feeling pretty good right here retiring. But on the back end, we get hit hard with an extended period of negative returns. And we see the depletion, the rapid depletion. Now you combine a medical expense in this scenario, yeah, it's going to deplete the nest egg much more rapidly. So I just want to look at one a little bit more normal here. Okay, this is also a very interesting one. So look here. This is a worse simulation than the 500th. If you remember, the 500th averaged 5.76. This one actually averages 7.65% per year. But look what happens in the second year of retirement. We have a negative 27% loss that was preceded by just a negative 5% loss. So we have videos out here. One of them is called Two Portfolios Average 7%, one runs out of money, one doesn't. It focuses on the sequence of returns risk, one of the biggest factors to determining whether your money will last. This illustration very clearly shows this. So we see the portfolio immediately, now we've dropped down from 900,000. Second year of retirement, we're at 592 because of that big loss combined with the retirement withdrawal. So that is substantial. Then we have some modest gains over the coming years. Not many bad losses ever, really, but we start to see it being depleted here. So, and even though it's staying level here, if we look, this is still just 400, 400, 500. This is 2039, so 18 years down the road. If we have a medical situation here, this is going to be depleted. The surviving spouse is really going to be left with next to nothing, especially when you take into consider inflation and purchasing power in today's dollars. Okay, I didn't mean to go that far down this rabbit hole, but this is really good content here. It's very good for you to understand some of these aspects. Okay, getting back on track. Social Security is what I was talking about. For this particular couple, taking Social Security at full retirement age increases the probability from 55 to 60% to 85%. Now, if we look at this is the same simulation, but now we're looking at the simulation based on taking Social Security at full retirement age as opposed to as soon as they retire. Okay, starting out with the 500th simulation. We have some good years, a couple down years, but look what happens. Look how important for this particular couple deferring Social Security until full retirement age is. Even in this scenario where we're averaging about 5.4, the balances stay fairly level throughout retirement. Out here, we're still at $1 million. The only difference that I've done here is I've changed Social Security from taking it at retirement to taking it at full retirement age. If we look at the individual trials, look how big this is. The 99th percentile, now future dollars, $6 million. Now this is the market averages, 20% a year. It's not going to happen. So, but if we break it down to the middle 75% here, 2 million, 1 million, even 350, this starts to get scary for sure down here if we get underperformance. In today's dollars, 978, 498. So this is a much more comfortable retirement scenario. It still needs to be monitored. We still need our accounts and how much we're spending. All of that needs to be connected to a plan so we know where we are and we can make adjustments as time goes on. But we see a very clear impact. Just to do one more simulation here, like I did before. Okay, even in this simulation, we're still better off. That's the main point. Now, everyone's Social Security situation is a little bit different. Both spouses may be working. You may put in place some type of Social Security strategy that I haven't shown here, obviously, but it needs to be customized to your particular situation. And we haven't even got into taxes yet, which I'm still going to do. Big difference. Now we're going to look at a different life expectancy. All the same parameters that we've already went through, but I get this comment a lot as well. Troy, I'm not going to live to 95. Well, maybe you don't have the longevity. Maybe you're not in the best health and you still want to have this information. So again, please keep in mind, everything I go through here, this is just to help to introduce you to all of the complexity and all the concepts and the decisions that need to go into a comprehensive retirement plan. What we do when we go through this with clients, and this is real retirement planning, looking at all these scenarios, having these discussions, and it's not just once it gets set up, it's ongoing. We need to be having this conversation, this analysis as time progresses because things change. Not just your health, expected longevity, markets, the economy, tax rates, everything. And being able to connect your money to your security, that's how, in my opinion, you sleep better at night. So in this example, we're going to look at what happens if the husband passes away at 80 and then the wife lives till 90. Okay, so all of the same parameters. As I said, this first one is taking Social Security as soon as they retire, okay, 62, 63. Much better. We come in at 84%. So does this need to be monitored? Absolutely, because if we end up spending a little bit more, and one of the things that we do see often in retirement is that people do spend more in the first year or two than they were anticipating. So we'll put plans together, and this happens fairly frequently, and we do our first review. Typically it's 6 months down the road. And they come in and they say, Troy, I'm spending more. We went on this vacation, we did this, we did that, we gave some money to the grandkids, and we spent $20,000 more, $10,000 more than we were anticipating. Not a big deal. That's why having a plan is critical, because all we do is we adjust the numbers. And your accounts are linked up to your plan, so as we're sending you money from your investment account, when it decreases and then the account goes up or down or whatever that happens in the market, all of that automatically flows through to your plan. And our clients have access to it either on their phone or on their computer, so they're always connected. But we're reviewing this and we're tracking the progress. So if we spend too much and the markets don't cooperate in the first couple of years of retirement, this number could still go down. Not a big deal, we just need to be aware of it, okay? If it goes down and stays down, we probably need to make some adjustments. Okay, so taking Social Security as soon as they retire, 84. Looking at Social Security, because for this particular planning case, Social Security is one of the most critical elements. Again, this assumes about a 60% stock portfolio, 40% bond, which again, bonds aren't typically the best investment right now simply because of the low rates. There are some better alternatives to incorporate into a mix, whether it's 60-40, 60-20-20. In real life, we'd have a more in-depth conversation about the tools we're using here, but this is again just to start communicating some of the concepts that you need to be aware of in retirement. Okay, 66, they take Social Security at 66, probability of success jumps to 96%. So now if I'm sitting down with you, or if one of our advisors are sitting down with you, we're saying, John and Jane, you guys are at 96%. Let's increase, let's stress test this income spending level. Let's get it up to maybe $90,000 a year for the first 10 years. Or $90,000 for the first 7. And then let's plan on tapering it back down to an inflation-adjusted $75,000 where we're looking at now. And if this is still coming in at 88, 90, 92, that's good. We're in a good place here. Let's just monitor it and track the progress, and we can make adjustments as time goes on. Also keep in mind, we haven't even really done, or we haven't at all, this software is not the best for tax planning. We do a lot of tax planning by hand, looking at your income sources and running Excel calculations, but also we have 3 different softwares that we use for tax planning. So these numbers most likely, well, I know because I've already done it, can be improved from a tax planning as well, which again, that's step 3 of our retirement process. Okay, so much better, taking Social Security full retirement age. I'm still comfortable if they take it here at 62 or 63, 83, 86, just we need to pay a little bit more attention. Now we're going to look at the tax analysis of the very first scenario we looked at, and then I'm going to switch the ages to what we just saw. So both spouses, good health, working out, eating healthy, 95 life expectancy is the first one we're going to look at. At this spending level and $700,000 in retirement account, we do not need to be overly aggressive with the Roth conversions. As we see here, we have doing Roth conversions. This is going up to the 12% bracket for this particular couple. Now under current tax law, and we do have an impending tax change, but under current tax law, you can have over $100,000 of income and still be at this 12% tax bracket range. Your effective tax is actually less than 10% at that income level. So doing conversions up to the 12% bracket versus doing no conversions. Estimated ending value, $775,000 versus $416,000. Total taxes paid in retirement, $143 versus $443. So with $300,000 in potential tax savings of doing conversions versus not doing conversions for this particular couple. Now, this Social Security strategy, they're identical here. It's taking Social Security when they retire. Again, they're 62 now. They're going to retire in the beginning of 2022 in this hypothetical example, and they'll be 63 in that next year. These numbers will look better if we take Social Security at different times. Just like the last case, it looked better if we took Social Security a little bit later. Okay, we're going to look at what does converting up to the 12% tax bracket actually look at. What are these conversions? So you see in the first year, we have a $56,000 conversion, 22, 23, fairly big, 106, 101, and then they drop down 24 and 25. So a couple things to note. First, the first year, this is a more realistic projection because in the real world, if they're working this year and they're going to retire next year, well, they're going to have a salary this year, this couple. So we have that salary at $50,000. That's why the conversion for 2021 is reduced, because we're targeting that 12% bracket, which also, by the way, we've looked at over 100 different, the computer has 100 different possible Roth conversion alternatives and has ranked them. This 12% bracket for this family is the #1 ranked strategy. Something else to keep in mind here, we're extrapolating out many, many years. We're modeling, we're forecasting, we isolate all variables, but the top 10 strategies or so are pretty closely aligned. So just because we start down one path this year doesn't mean next year and the subsequent years we're going to be doing the same conversion strategy, and the taxes are about to change. So all of this is why we work with someone who understands these retirement complexities and then can connect your accounts to your security and your money. But 2 conversions of 100 here, a couple smaller ones, 24 and 25, let me show you what these taxes look like in this particular scenario. Okay, so this is kind of a breakdown of the tax schedule. So we have adjusted gross income. So we're targeting this 12% tax bracket here, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. It goes out if I hit that next button. Taxable income, taxable Social Security, total taxes. Here we go. 12,252, 11,683. So in this example, we're showing you can convert this 2022, I believe was $106,000, convert that, move it from the IRA to the tax-free Roth. It's tax-free forever. You do not have to worry about the government changing the rules, coming back and saying, no, you have to pay tax on that twice. $11,000, $600 was the total taxes that you can pay to do that conversion under current tax law. Now we're gonna go through, we're actually gonna be doing a live stream. If you subscribe to the channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, we're gonna be doing a live stream as soon as the new tax legislation comes out. We're already starting to go through the proposals. Once the Republicans, Democrats are on the same page, we're gonna sift through it, connect you to what's going on and how it impacts your retirement. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's a good time to do that, and you can attend that live stream that we're going to do here on YouTube. I want to talk a little bit about the withdrawal plan. So we know now conversions make sense for this couple. Estimated $300,000 in savings, higher ending values, again projected, but apples to apples comparison with all the variables. Question now becomes, if you remember the very beginning of the video, I said we're going to talk about withdrawal order and also Roth conversions. How much are we taking from the non-IRA? When? How much are we taking from the IRA? How much are we converting to the Roth? And then how much and when are we taking out of the Roth? Well, this is one of the tools that we'll use with you to help identify that. In this hypothetical example, taxable, this is your non-qualified, tax deferred, and Roth. If you had an HSA, we'd have it over here. So first 3 years, we're paying some taxes on the retirement account, but we're also maxing out our tax bracket with the Roth conversion. So once we retire, we still have to live. We're still going to need to pull money out. So in this example, we're maxing out that 12% bracket with IRA to Roth conversions, living off the non-qualified. If you remember, there was $200,000 in this example. If you're preparing for retirement, if you're in that pre-retirement stage, try to please build up your non-qualified bucket as much as possible. Don't just stuff it all into that 401k. Get your match, definitely, absolutely get your match, but be aware, think ahead. This is what most people haven't told you. Think ahead. When I start taking money out of those accounts, think of your buckets as their tax characteristic as well. This is going to help you have a more secure retirement, especially if you believe taxes are going to be a lot higher in the future. So this is what it looks like. We're doing conversions, okay? We're not liquidating this entire account. This is very important. I'm going to show you why in a minute. When I say liquidating this entire account, I mean we don't have to convert the entire account to Roth. A lot of people think, again, that, hey, I have to convert this whole thing. No, you don't. You don't. Many of you do not. Because many reasons, I don't have time on this video to go down that rabbit hole, but there are many reasons why you don't have to convert your entire IRA. We just need to have tax diversification. Okay, so now here in 2029, we're starting to take $15,000 from the IRA, $16,000 from the Roth, and we've taken Social Security. So that is filling in the income gap. If I come over here, show the taxes, this is going to be cool. I've went out 2031 to 2036. This is why converting to the 12% bracket for this hypothetical family makes the most sense, because we don't have to get it all out of the IRA into the Roth, because look, here's our total taxes in the future. $91, $101, $312, $500, $700. Big deal. It even starts sooner than that. If I go back now 2026 through 2031, here's your total taxes. Basically in the 0% tax bracket. Well, you are in the 0% tax bracket in current law because, well, almost. These are the total taxes paid, but darn close. Okay, so that's why when we're planning for retirement income, this is why Retirement 360 is so important. It's not just about the investments. This is why you pay someone a fee to help you through this, because you need to have a plan to coordinate all of these different moving pieces, but then analyze them on an ongoing basis and stay connected so you feel secure, so you sleep better at night. Okay, one last thing I want to show you. I said I'm going to come back to this. First thing is, this is your required minimum distributions. The blue line is doing the conversions. The green line is doing no conversions. So just a quick comparison here. It's 72. You are forced to start distributing from your retirement accounts. They're called RMDs, or required minimum distributions. The green line, okay, they get up out here, 76, 73, 71, 68. So be aware of that. Total taxes, comparing doing nothing versus going up to the 12% bracket. We're going to pay some taxes. If we're doing conversions, we're going to pay some taxes. This is not a big deal. We could pay less taxes, okay, over the first several years of retirement, at least through right here. But then once we kind of get to this point, 2029 at 70 years old, this is the total. Don't worry about these columns. Different conversation, different day. But look, we do the comparison. We're going through retirement. This is very, very manageable. I don't care if you're in this situation if the government raises taxes. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't impact us. We've prepared. We've planned. Over here, still, I mean, this isn't horrible if we don't do the conversions. This is manageable. This is much better in my opinion. But one thing, this is where a lot of people also fail to get the Roth conversion discussion right. I've done something to the television screen here, but this is showing us the composition of accounts. When you're having the Roth discussion, you're doing planning, when we're sitting down and we're having these conversations, I'm talking to you and our advisors are talking to you about what do you want your money to do when you're gone? To whom do you want to bequeath the money to? If it's important to you that the kids or grandkids receive your money, would you rather pass on money that's all subject to income tax? So $700,000 plus here, that once they take it out, and they do have to take it out within 10 years, and keep in mind when they take it out, that will go on top of their existing income, possibly bumping them into a much higher bracket. Realistically, here you're probably passing on 400, 500 grand instead of the whole 700. Or would you rather pass on all this money tax-free? So this is over 600 tax-free. This is over 328 subject to income tax. If we were going to do estate planning, where we're looking at charitable gifting, we're gifting the IRA assets, giving the children and grandchildren the Roth IRA money. So when we're doing conversions, we're having those discussions, looking into the future and what's important to you, what's your vision, what do you want to happen with your money. This plays into the decision of whether we do conversions or not. If you don't care, we forget about this, we skip this. All right, now we're going to look at the tax impact with the two different life expectancies, the husband living until 80 and the wife living until 90. So, a couple of interesting things here. So first, this is the same Roth 12 conversion strategy. We're going to compare it to doing nothing. Okay, so ending value 445 versus 151. This is going to be very interesting once we kind of dig into this. Total taxes 130 versus 451. So not a ton of difference here on the total taxes paid compared to the longer life expectancy, simply because we're not living as long. But here's also something that's interesting. In the other scenario, living to 95, the ending value was about 750,000, 740 something, I believe, in that range. The reason why it's much lower here is a couple of reasons. With the husband dying early, okay, one social security check goes away. The wife is left with the bigger one. But that's a significant amount of income not coming in. In this particular scenario, that would have primarily been going into savings and earning interest and growing. But also there's 5 less years for the assets to grow. So dying sooner, they actually have less money than if they had lived to 95. Taxes are fairly similar if we do the Roth conversion, but if we don't do the Roth conversion, I want to The only reason taxes are $451, they would be a lot higher if the husband died sooner and the wife lived to 95. But because she's dying at 90 in this example, their taxes are relatively the same, if memory serves, based on the previous example that we looked at. But you're going to be, I did another video on this similar concept. One of the most punitive aspects of the tax code is when a retired couple, when one spouse predeceases the other, you go from the married filing jointly tax brackets to the single tax brackets. So oftentimes, because of required minimum distributions, maybe pension income, rental income, whatever it may be, the income doesn't really change that much. Oftentimes, only the smallest Social Security check is lost, but you have the same, so you have the same level of income, similarly at least, even though maybe you aren't spending it because you're supporting one spouse, but you go from the married brackets to the single brackets. This is a tremendous oversight. I don't know if it's an oversight, it could be intentional, I don't know. And I don't mean that in a mean way, someone obviously has looked at this and said, no, we're gonna keep it the same. You're single, you stay in the single bracket. Okay, this is what I wanna show you. And okay, so here is the scenario. So still in the Roth conversion, still similar. Both spouses are alive, no change here from the last scenario. But we get out here, the husband dies at age 80. In the non-Roth conversion scenario, the taxes jump, if you can see this here, from $9,800 the previous year, of course, compared to $1,500 if you've done the Roth conversions, to $25,000 a year, going from the married to the single brackets. Okay, that is a significant increase in taxes from being married filing jointly to single. So be aware of that. One of the reasons, I talked earlier about one of the reasons we look at Roth conversions is the composition of our assets. If to whom we pass them on to is important to us, we'd rather pass tax-free money to our children. Another reason that's more abstract that we need to be considering when doing Roth conversions is one spouse less healthy than the other spouse? Or does one spouse have a shorter life expectancy than the other spouse? If so, keep in mind, you're going to go from those married filing jointly to single brackets, and depending on your particular situation, it can be a pretty big jump in taxes. Keep in mind again, if taxes go up in the future, which I'm in the boat that they will, simply because we're on an unsustainable path when it comes to the country, all of the disparity between these two sides, it will be much greater. So, another reason to consider Roth conversions. Okay, I said I was going to go through the same analysis with the other Social Security strategy. Truth of the matter is, I've went into great detail on this video, and I have an existing client. We're actually waiting in the lobby. We're actually going to go through this, everything that we've went through today, hypothetically for you guys, we're about to go through with them. So I hate to be late, and I also hate to cut you guys off and not finish that other Social Security strategy, but I've covered a ton. I think you guys get the point today, and I really appreciate your time. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, comment down below. If you don't like the video, thumbs down, let me know why. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you on the next video.